What is up, everyone? It is Chewburger84 here from Alternate Reality, and we are back with some mobile gaming content. Now, this is Dragon Champions. This was a game that I intended on downloading and just playing for myself. It wasn't going to be something I was going to make content for, but I have been having so much fun with this game that I can't help but want to share my experiences with you, and like we're doing for some other games, release some strategy guides and also some news from week to week, starting off in January 2020. So I've been playing this game for nearly 2 months now. I'm in 53 days, and I really cannot stop playing it. Every day has been a joy to log in so far. It's not a perfect game, but considering this game has been made by less than a dozen members in this team, it's a very small developer, but the way that they have been interacting with the community has been unbelievably refreshing. After doing a lot of the corporate games that have the big sponsors like Star Wars and Marvel, they're fun games, but they can be quite challenging to deal with. Whereas these guys are unbelievable in how willing they are to make changes to the game based on community feedback. It's probably my favorite thing about the game so far. Now, most of you know how these games work. The idea is you run through different campaign modes, legendary events, and the idea is we want to level our characters up over time. So what will happen is you will basically log into the game, run your campaign modes, and the idea is we want to collect these character shards. Over time, we can increase, once we've collected enough, their star level up to increase their power. We also, up the top right here, can increase their gear levels over time up to a maximum of 11. Their character level can go as high as level 80, which I hit just today, so that's why we're doing this video today. And then we do have runes. So runes have only been in a handful of games that I've played, and these are something I'm normally quite skeptical about, because in many of the games, you'll find that the thing that really defines it is this stat right here, which is speed. Normally, whoever's team goes first wins. So far, and we are relatively early in the piece, again, I'm only playing for 2 months so far, it doesn't seem to be as dominant compared to a lot of other games in terms of speed ruining it. So far, I'm finding there's a decent balance, and which characters that you pick in your arena matches seem to matter a lot more for now. I'm hoping that in the future, speed won't take over, but it's definitely the kind of company that is listening to that feedback and monitoring as we go. Now, if you're wondering about the characters, it seems very almost Warcraftian themed. So we have pandas, which is personally one of my favorites. We have your humans, your orcs. We also have the Pride faction, which is very cool. That's where Revel, our tiger friend, comes from. I think Patriarch Chi is probably one of the coolest looking characters in this game. The demons look amazing. I really think they've done a great job with the flavor text and the story of this game to make you want to get involved with characters that don't come from a big IP. With Marvel, you know who Iron Man is. With Star Wars, you know who Darth Vader is. These guys are building something from scratch, and I think they're doing a great job of it. You know, these characters are very identifiable from their different artwork and very fun with their story. So as far as gameplay goes, it's relatively simplistic. So if we come in here and we basically have an attack, I'll take my 5 guys versus those 5 guys. Let's just say yes. Let's just do this. Now, whichever team you do use for attacking in arena, that will become your defensive team. So you want to be careful sometimes with your last attack of the day in regards to seeing who is going to be your defensive team to run the show for you overnight. So you can use generally 3 abilities per character. All of them will have a passive ability, which basically means they're doing something in the background while your characters are fighting the match. Now, I don't think it's got the most developed animations of some of the games that I've played recently, but in saying that, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes when you have over-the-top animations in some of these games, when you're trying to get through a raid node or a tower mode very quickly, sometimes having over-the-top animations can actually increase the amount of time that you need to the point where it makes you lose the match. So far, I've been pretty happy with not only the way that this game looks, but more importantly, the way it plays. Now you can dial the speed here up to 4 speed, which is what I've been doing since the day that they switched that on, just because it allows me to get through these game modes much faster. Alright, so I haven't really been paying enough attention here to what I should be doing. I'm running on autopilot right now, but it just goes to show you how easy it is to pick this game up and really start thumping away at your opposition. This guy Tromgar is definitely one of the most dominant characters in the game, thanks to what you just saw him do, which is running around and counter-punching you in the face with a 30% chance of stunning. So there you go, rank 1, beautiful. Now you do get obviously different currencies from winning things like Arena, from doing events like the Guild Raid. So if we go up here to our store, we have all of our different stores. Now at the moment, this is split between gold, which is definitely an in-demand currency, and then we have the Dracoins, which is basically your, I guess, pay-to-win currency. But I've been finding that if you can compete at a reasonable level in Arena and also in some of the tournaments, you do tend to get a reasonable amount of Dracoins coming back, which allows you to buy some really big upgrades like gear very quickly. We have our guild currency from raids and daily quests. Arena is obviously Arena. And then we have our tower currency. Now, tower is basically, just like it sounds, a tower that you can do every single day that goes up where you can use your main teams of any particular background up the middle. And then along these two here, you can do one of the two factions of the game with specified races at the top. The idea is it gets more difficult as you go up this, and you'll find that you'll come up against a lot of your competitor players to get some really tough challenges at the top. Now, one thing I love about this is that it can be quite time consuming in the early days, but there is a reward if you're persistent. As you can see on the right hand of the screen here, if you do 50 tower runs, if you do 150 tower runs, whenever you achieve that, all of a sudden you can auto run it, which basically means you hit auto up here, it will automatically complete, which will probably save you anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes per day of game time. Now at the moment, this is kind of my playground. It's where I test a lot of my characters. So to be honest, that's not necessarily something that I want to skip over for now. Then of course it comes to the raid. Now I'd love to show you some footage of this, but I'm about to go on vacation. Stay tuned to the channel, but I'm going to tell you about it in the future. Now, this is a really cool game mode and really diverts from a lot of games that I've played. So you get together with your alliance or your guild, whatever you'd like to call it, and you basically take down 3 mini bosses, and once they're dead, we have to take down one of the dragons themselves. Now, each of these characters, like Hardorc or Solius, they all have different abilities, so you can't just use the same team over and over again. Hardorc, for example, you have to use characters that have excessive magic damage because he's resistant to physical. Solius is the opposite. You need to use physical damage characters. So this is basically a test of your roster, but it allows you a real playground to theory craft with new characters. The game is only new, but the fact that we already have quite a few characters released to the game is very encouraging. And even since I've started playing, we've already seen 2 legendary characters, which does seem quite fast, but beta has been around for a while. And we've also seen the introduction of 1 new character, 2 I should say. Cruel was the October Halloween event, and we have another 3 arriving over the next month. And they seem to be going from launch events, usually through tournaments up here, very quickly through to their farmable abilities through shop, which I really like. Now, one of the things that this game does well is that when you maximize characters, okay, you can't do any more shards for them. That tends to become wasted currency in a lot of games. What they do here is they put premium items in their stars store, where every time you get a character shard, which we get from boxes, which I'll show you in a moment, that will stack up this currency up here. And they're just about to put in some wonderful new characters into this store very soon. If we go across here into chests, you'll find that the best bang for buck when you first start the game is to save 10 of these premium chests. It works out a little bit cheaper for you. And then open those. You're going to get a lot of great characters this way, and that works out quite well. We're going to have a guide about the best way to access these characters when I get back from my vacation in January, but I could not wait to tell you guys about this game and the fact that in 2020 we're going to be covering it a little bit more. Now, if we talk about value, it's very similar to a lot of games. If you're wondering what this currency is, it is the United Arab Emirates dirhams. So this works out to about $100 for the top package. And they do have some introductory offers when you first start the game that'll basically give you double your money. And that certainly helped me build my roster, that is for sure. And they do have offers which can come through daily, and they're normally tied into the tournaments. So you get to use your characters in the arena, in the tower, in the guild raid, and then we have tournaments. So tournaments run between 2 and 3 days, and the rewards that you get for each of them differs every single day. Now, there might be ability scrolls, which allow you to level up your characters. It could be new characters. And what's fun about this is it kind of helps you explore the different characters of the game by forcing you to use characters you wouldn't normally use. So for example, it says I can pick any 2 pandas that I want, any 2 demons that I want, but in that team I have to use these characters. So what makes this fun is that I might have, let's say, these characters here, but in my case, they are terrible. So if I was to use them, I have to go, okay, what can I do to try and counterbalance that team? So for example, my team, which I'll show you in a minute, has some really, really bad characters in it as far as where they are with level. So my Puncher Face is very, very low, my Duo is very low, and so is my Xantara. However, these 2 characters here, very good, very powerful. I've got them maximized. And the idea is you try and pick teams, you try and balance it out to try and say, okay, well, these are my weaknesses. What are my strengths? How can I counterbalance that? And I love this because so many games like this, you log in and you don't have to think. You push the auto button and then you just win. So the idea is we want to try and use my big characters to take out their big characters before they get to crush mine. It basically becomes a little bit of a race here. And we're going to try and rip through this as quick as we can. Let's see if we can win this. Okay. Now I have to admit, the new legendary character Ember down in the bottom right hand corner there, she's quickly become one of my favorites, especially in Arena. Plus, you know, pandas, man, they're adorable. I fell in love with them with World of Warcraft, and they're certainly very lovable here as well. Judging by the story, they seem to be selling that whole very sleepy, you know, trying to avoid combat style narrative while being very honorable. So there's definitely a lot of flavor that reminds me a lot of Warcraft, and there's a reason I played that series of games for nearly 20 years. So I do like the idea of this game mode. In time, we may find that obviously the people who have the most expansive rosters are of course just going to win. But for now, in these early days, I love the fact that you'll have a level 80 character sitting side by side, you know, a level 20 character. It's a hell of a lot of fun. So look, this is a brief, I guess, overview of what this game is. If you want me to talk about its strengths, I think the fact that it has some of the cheapest microtransactions in gaming that I've seen in a long time, I think that they earn the title of microtransactions. When everything I see in games like Marvel Strike Force or Galaxy of Heroes are $50, $60, $100 each, you just want to quit those games because they've gone so commercial. When this is a game supporting, you know, 10 guys who made this game on laptops, I think the value for money is great. And for me, knowing that we're supporting some up and coming developers, that in itself gives me the feels in the good places. All right. Now, I also like the graphics. I don't think that they've gone overboard. They haven't gone overboard with the animations. Of course, it could be prettier. I think MSF is probably the best looking gacha game out there at the moment, but this game is certainly not ugly. The characters, they do build their own IP, so, you know, if you don't really read the flavor text and try and explore the lore of this universe, you may find it slightly boring. But I have to admit, as someone that does like to do that, like to read the text and the story from the different campaign nodes, I think that you're going to really enjoy it if you're anything like me. I think the arena, it's pay to win at the top end at the moment, but it does feel like if you are good with your resource management, that will balance out. I love the fact that the time requirements for this game are so low. If you wanted to keep your game time within this game down below 1 hour, you can absolutely get that done per day, versus other games right now where you have to spend anywhere between 2 and 6 hours per day to be competitive, which for a mobile game is crazy, folks. Now, if you want to talk about, I guess, you know, some potential weaknesses, every game has them. I'd say at the moment, they probably are launching a few things a little too fast for people joining the game right now to catch up. So 2 legendary characters within 6 weeks is very fast. However, seeing how quickly they're allowing free-to-play players to catch up by shifting characters from tournament stores into general stores, that is an encouraging step in the right direction. I love the raids. I think so far they're good, although I do think they're going to have to release a new raid or a new mode, which may be coming soon. We see this Dragon Champions World Championship. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is, because I think for those people that have played beta for a while, they may be getting close to running out of things to do. However, I'm loving where they're at with this game. I think the development cycle is very, very fast. They're very responsive. I've had a few interactions with their developers, and so far they have been nothing short of courteous, kind, and they listen to the community. The community was concerned about tournaments. For example, when it first came out, we said, hey, tournaments, they're kind of pay to win. Let's not do that. And they said, you know what? Good point. Let's not do that. So I really love how they're listening. Folks, if you want to check this game out, there's a link in the description below. I'd love it if you click on it. I will be absolutely transparent with you that I do get a very, very small kickback if you do download that game. But at the same time, obviously only continue to play it if you genuinely like it. You won't hurt my feelings. So for those of you that are already playing, how are you finding this game? What do you love? What do you think we need to work on? For those of you that download it and play it after you see this video, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what sort of videos you want to see from me on this going forward, and I'll be sure that in January, we'll get back to you with some great Dragons Champions guides, strategy programs, infographics, you name it. Alternate Reality is going to have it coming very soon. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notifications bell. I've been Shoeburger84, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers.